You're listening to Misopinionated. Real life, real perspective, and unapologetic truth. I'm your host, Divine Priestess. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. So welcome to another episode of, oh Lord, I was about to say Sweetwater Podcast. It's been a while since that one, but welcome to another episode of Misopinionated. I'm your host, Divine Priestess, and today we're going to be talking about love magic and cord cutting. And it's a great time because actually, I don't know how many times I've tried to redo this particular episode because I did one, but then I didn't like it. And then I was like, I need to do a cord cutting myself. So we're touching on love magic and cord cuttings. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to love magic. A lot of people look at love magic as being something that's just fully manipulative, right? You're trying to force someone that doesn't want you to be with you. And that's not 100% love magic. Love magic is going to consist of different things. There are love magic that is for self-love. There is love magic to attract love in general. And then there's love magic to, again, try to get a specific person. When it comes to doing love magic to get a specific person, myself and other practitioners, not all of them, but some, are not a fan of it. Because essentially, you are going against someone's free will of trying to force them to be with you. You're trying to control their feelings. You can't make anyone love you, point blank, period. Whether you do love magic or not, you cannot force someone to love you. Those feelings have to be there from the get go. If you are doing love magic on someone that doesn't want you and you end up getting them, just know it's not out of love, right? At that point, now you are binding them, right? Again, you are going against the rule. You are forcing them to do something. So essentially, look at you putting chains around someone and dragging them into you and keeping them there. Trying to do love magic on someone that doesn't want to be with you, that doesn't have feelings for you. Again, the longer you keep them around, sometimes the more aggressive, the more toxic, the more abusive things can become. A person that you are doing love magic on that does not want to be there can become physical, violent towards you. And so a lot of practitioners will advise you not to do it that way. Again, how I mentioned earlier, how there is love magic that can be for self-love. So again, glamour magic is one of those things that would kind of fall under the umbrella of love magic. Because again, you are pouring love into yourself. You are adorning yourself. You are adoring yourself. You are doing all these things to boost your confidence, your self-esteem, and essentially healing. Now, again, when it comes to love magic of just attracting love in itself, it is an attraction. Okay. But you are putting it out there that you are wanting to receive. Now, that can go several ways because you're going to be receiving a lot of love, maybe from people that you don't necessarily want love from, but you're going to be attracting. So there's a lot of rope when it comes to love magic, right? Especially if you are just wanting love in general, but you have in mind of exactly what you want, then you need to put that out. Don't just turn on the bat signal of, hey, I want love, and now you're getting the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay. So there is a big difference again with manifesting love and forcing love. Once again, when people think of love magic, they think of you trying to force someone to love you and be with you. And essentially, it's a manifestation. Now, there are different ways to doing love magic. It really all just depends on your practice, right? Are you initiating to a tradition? Are you a part of a tradition? Do you have an ancestral practice? What is it that you do? Because some people can use puppets, right? Dolls. Some people will do like gree bags, mojo bags. Some people will do candles. Some people will do black magic. Some people, it's a list of things that you can do when it comes to love magic. This is also going to touch on the glamour magic side of things of you having a vanity and you sitting there with your perfumes, your makeup, with your flowers, all things that are beautiful, right? Sitting there in front of the mirror doing those things and talking to yourself, right? Speaking affirmations. It's a form of love magic because you are wanting to pour more love into yourself so you can feel it, so on and so forth. Now, love magic, and the reason why I put love magic and cord cutting in together, because a lot of people that doesn't seem like it'll make sense. Like, why would I do love magic and why would I want to know about cord cutting? Because again, if you have, before I get to that, what is a cord cutting? A cord cutting is you severing ties, severing an energetic tether cord between you and another person. And building cords is not as hard as you think. You can build emotional cords, emotional ties to someone. You can have a physical tie, right? Via sex, things like that. A mental tie. Trauma bonding is going to fall in the realms of emotional and mental. Okay. Those things need to be severed. A lot of the times you need to sever those cords and those ties with past relationships, especially if you want to attract love, if you want someone to step into your life. It's best to cut that cord because their energy is still going to be lingering around. And so I want you to imagine it as you are manifesting love, right? However, you still have this energetic tie between you, John, Jacob, Joseph, Messiah, right? Between, all these different people, right? And so now you have this new person coming in, but your energy is still being spread out amongst many. And this sometimes is why some people have a difficulties attracting love or keeping love around, is because there's so much energy being poured out. Even if you are not with that person, even if you're not talking to that person anymore, there is still that cord, that tie that is there between you. And so some people don't want to do a cord cutting because they don't want anything bad to happen to them. And nothing's bad is going to happen to you because you are doing a cord cutting. Okay. You doing that cord cutting is so that way you can truly, truly, truly move on and move forward with your life. Now, this is the thing when it comes to a cord cutting, is that the candle work, right, or doing the spiritual work of it is the easiest. It is the simple. But there's also an emotional and mental side of it that needs to be dealt with. And this is where people have a hard time with their cord cuttings, is because they still want to talk to them. They want to know what they're doing. They want to know what they're up to. They want to know if that person is thinking about them, if that person is worried about what they are up to. So therefore, they still keep that communication. A quick little story time of when I did a cord cutting on someone from my past, right? We were dealing with each other, sporadically, right? For years. In, I want to say probably going into like the second year, right? Maybe it's been like a year and a half. It got to a point to where, okay, you constantly say you don't want a relationship with me, right? That we're not meant to be together. We're not meant for each other, but you keep coming around. We keep doing this, that, and the third. We keep communication, especially when it's convenient for you. I don't want to keep dealing with that. So I go upstairs because I had an upstairs, downstairs, and I go upstairs and I'm in front of my altar and I have two candles. At this point, I'm doing two cord cuttings from person A and person B, who I started seeing after me and person A was done with each other, or supposedly done. So person B, I write his information on there, light the candle, because I also said the prayers to do the cord cutting. So for person A, kid you not. And this is a thing that also scares people when it comes to the cord cutting or just spiritual stuff in general. Because, yes, in the middle of me lighting his candle, right, I get a phone call. I kid you not. Within 10 seconds, he calls me of lighting that candle. And he was like, What are you doing right now? And I'm like, nothing. Stop trying to do a cord cutting on me. If you want to do a cord cutting on me, we need to do it together. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So then he talks about how he got a reading. And in the reading, they didn't say me specifically, but they gave my zodiac sign. And he was like, you're the only Sagittarius that I deal with. They told me that you're trying to do X, Y, Z. Da, 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 da. And he was like, if you're gonna do a cord cutting, we need to do it together. First off, in the beginning of the phone call, when he mentioned stop trying to do a cord cutting on him, I got freaked out and I blew the candle out. I put it out because I was like, oh my gosh, he knows I'm like doing something. Like he knows that I'm trying to remove him from me, and it freaked me out. But then when I got off the phone with him, mind you, I'm still in my altar room. So Spirit's like, light that candle. Because no, you don't do a cord cutting with the person. You do it when they're not around. Because again, as much as a person may say like that, oh, we're going to do the cord cutting together, you don't do cord cuttings together. You can do bindings together, because I do know some people that they do love workings on one another and they actually bind each other. And they both know this, so they will do the binding work together. You can do that together. But a cord cutting, you don't need the other person there in order to cut the cord. So when you are doing a cord cutting, do expect. Well, I'm not going to tell you to expect it. No, expect it. Because if it don't happen, oh well. Do expect that the person is going to reach out to you. And this is very important. Of when you do the cord cutting, it is best to give yourself 30 days of no contact. Okay. So when people be like, I'm going no contact, they are essentially doing a cord cutting. Okay. You don't have to have candles. You don't have to do other things. Okay. So I want y'all to understand that when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to magic, if you don't always have to use candles. Okay. There are people that are in a church house that are very spiritual, very magical, and they not light in one candle. But when you're doing a cord cutting, you want to go no contact, because it is easy for a cord to reattach. And this is why I had to record this episode again, because I forgot that in the previous episode of saying when you are doing a cord cutting, the importance of y'all not being around each other, of y'all not talking to each other. If you gotta delete them from social media, delete them. If you have to block them, block them. Because it's very easy for a cord to form. Especially, a cord cutting is not gonna stop you from having feelings for that person. A cord cutting does not mean you did not love that person. Okay. So don't think of it, oh, I'm gonna do this cord cutting and I'm not gonna love them no more. I'm not gonna like them no more. I'm gonna be fully free. Spiritually, but mentally and emotionally, there's still a tether, there's still a tie, and that needs to be severed. Part of the work is already done. Spiritually, y'all have no connections anymore. It is done. But emotionally, now you have to go through that healing process. And oh my goodness, my eyes just itchy. Oh, why my eyes so itchy? That's something spiritual there. That's something spiritual there. And it's my left eye too. Ooh. But yeah. So be mindful of that. Cord cutting, 30 days. So that way you are fully clear. Because after 30 days, you have no feelings towards that person. You don't want to be with that person. You're done. You're good. Then good. Great. But take as long as you need. So that way, again, you don't have that pull between you and this person of feeling like you can never get away with them. Because sometimes the person is going to try and reattach themselves to you, because they're siphoning your energy. You are giving them something, right? Even if y'all are not physical with each other, they are still getting something out of you. So cord cuttings are very important, especially if you are going to be doing love magic to attract a partner, a loving partner. It's very important, so the way they are not in your orbit anymore. Another thing when it comes to the cord cutting and also the attraction of love, you want to make space physically as well. So if you have things in your home that are sentimental, between you and this person, go ahead and do yourself a favor and get rid of it. I have gifts from exes. I do. I have paintings that they have done for me, right? They gave, and we weren't even really together. We were just into, but they, I got paintings. I got artwork, right? I have, a matter of fact, a lot of men give me artwork, jewelry, shoes. Definitely get purses a lot. And yeah, those are the things that I now I have those still. That painting that is on that wall, I think I bought that one. But this one that's right here, my ex gave that to me. Okay. Um, I got another one that is over there. Someone that I was dealing with did that one for me. Can't fully see it, but I have all these things. Now, there's no sentimental, there's no emotional tie between me and those things and those people. Okay. However, I had an ex that I love flowers. Okay. I love flowers. So I have an ex who, when we went on road trips, he would get me flowers that we would come across, right? He would pick the flowers for me and give it to me. So I had one that was right here, and I had one that was in my car. And as much as I didn't want to get rid of those things, simply because I don't like getting rid of things that people give me, like it's a gift. I love it, right? Thank you. You thought about me. But those two gifts specifically were something that had sentimental value because I think about the time that we were in, think about what was going on, you know, think about where we were going. It's a deep memory because it's like, oh, I can remember the day. I remember the weather. I remember how I was dressed. I can, all those things. That's a sentimental value. And as much as I did not want to get rid of that, I had to because there's an energetic coding on that. And if I want to make space for someone to enter into my home, I don't need that energy lingering around. I'm a person, I can feel energy. That is why when it came to my partners, when either they were dealing with another person or, and by dealing, I mean sleeping, like they were having sex with another person, or their mind was somewhere else, I could feel that, right? And so I began to start kind of detaching myself. So it's the same thing with those two items of there's an energetic coding, like I can feel that other person there. So if you wanted to make space for a new person to come in, those are things that you really should do. And if you have a hard time getting rid of those items, those sentimental items, you have to ask yourself why. Why is it? Right? So some additional things when it comes to the love magic, I would always tell women mostly. Men, I didn't really have this conversation often with, but women that would come to me for readings and would come to me for love readings, they would, kind of feel down and out that spirit wouldn't talk to them about love. Spirit would talk to them about money. Spirit would talk to them about everything else but love. So they would ask about love. And so spirit is saying what they need to do. It's not telling them about the person coming in. I think I've probably had a few people, not a lot, of like, oh, these are the choices that's getting ready to come in. Like you're about to have options, and this is how they are, so forth, so on and so forth. But for most people, spirit will always talk about the healing that they needed to do. And so if you are going to do love magic to attract, think about the energetic space you are in. Be honest with yourself. Are you in a space to receive love? A lot of people will say, I want love. And then they get love and they be like, oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. They love me so much. They do this, they do this, they do this for me. That's so weird. That's so crazy. Why are they doing this? It's because they love you. But you are operating in a space of what you went through in the past. You are operating in a space of hurt, of trauma. You haven't released. Just because you don't think about it does not mean that it is not there, right? I got holes in my ears, right, from piercings. Ain't nothing in them. And I don't feel the hole. But that don't mean the hole ain't there, right? You don't feel the blood through your vein moving. But that don't mean that it ain't moving. You see what I'm saying? So my biggest suggestion is when it comes to love magic, go through the healing. Go through the process of building yourself up. Because again, the last thing you want to do is do a love working to attract love. And you attract someone that, yeah, there may be a good time, but there is something that is there missing, right? Maybe the person does love you, but they also have anger issues. You see what I'm saying? So work on you first too, because I know a lot of people will say that, oh, you attract the people you attract, it's a reflection of where you are energetically. And I agree with that to an extent, because there are some people that do vibrate very high, but they do attract low vibration, because that low vibration see the light and they want the light. It's like a moth to a flame. Okay, that doesn't mean you're not high, but they see the light. Now, if you are vibrating very high and attracting low, your thing is to sit there and not be delusional about what it is, right? You have to be honest with yourself of, I'm not going to take this on, because one thing that my family would always say about me that would very much irritate me was that I would always get projects that a lot of the men that I would deal with, they were like little school projects, right? They didn't have it together, I shouldn't be dealing with this, that, and the third. Basically, like I'm the healer, like I'm trying to help them elevate. Okay. And so, but I would sit there and be like, oh no, this person's, good. They're just really trying. They're this, they're that. They're going to be, everything. Cut it out. Be honest with yourself about where you are in regards to love. If you want love, be very honest. What are some things you need to work on? One thing that I used to always tell men that would come into my life is that I'm working on my communication, right? As we know, I can talk. However, I did not like having uncomfortable conversations. It would I would just really, I am going to say I would ultimately just shut down because I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to deal with it. I wanted to just act like it's non existent, right? Or if they was expressing something to me about me, I will begin to shut down because I'm like, I don't want to argue. I'm going to listen. I'm just going to be okay. And can we just move on? Can we talk about something else, right? And it's like, no, that has to be worked on because you also have to be okay with having those conversations. If you're going to have a partner in life, not every conversation is going to be whimsical. Not every conversation is going to be, giggles and rainbows. Some of them are going to be uncomfortable. Some of them are going to be difficult. Some of them are going to be emotional, right? Because that person has emotions and they may express that and they want to solve the issue. However, you need to heal. So you're taking them communicating how they feel about something as them trying to argue with you. And that's not the case. So again, work on yourself. Really analyze yourself. You know if you're an avoidant person. You know if you are a person that is temperamental or moody. You know if you are a person that has PTSD from a previous relationship. And so now you assume that every man or woman that you deal with is going to do the same exact thing that that person did. You need to release that baggage again so you can make space. Making space and doing the work that you need to be doing is also going to guide that person in Sometimes a lot quicker because it's like, oh, you done checked off all the things on your to-do list. You're making great progress. You're doing great. Let's go ahead and bring that person in. They're ready now. You see what I'm saying? Because how I also see it, and I've told this to people, of number one, that person is your own individual. Yes, you guys are coming into one, forming a union, but they are their own individual person, just like you are. Okay. So if you have jealousy issues, you need to work on that because they have their own life and they have their own relationships outside of you, and you can't be a part of everything. So work on that, right? So again, it's two people coming into one, but they're still two. They're still separate. Okay. Still separate, but coming into one because you guys are building something together. Okay. But outside of you doing the work on yourself to bring that person in a lot quicker in some cases, you guys are going to be building that foundation. And the last thing you want to do is have a person come into your life and you sabotage it because you haven't done the work, right? You're praying, 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 doing the magic, magic, magic for a person to come in and you finally get it. They're like, well, here you go. But you sabotage it. And now that person is gone forever and ain't coming back. And now a new person has to come in, right? And hopefully that new person that come in is not a lesson, but a blessing. You don't want to mess up that blessing by not doing the work. So one thing that I will always ask for myself, and I tell this to other people, of when you do your prayers, I'm a praying person. I'm always in prayer. Pray that you be made ready. I don't know what y'all, but I see myself as a wife and as a mother. So when I do my prayers, I pray that I am prepared to be the wife to my husband that I'm destined to be, and to be the mother to my kids that they are destined to have. Because again, you don't want to repeat cycles. Okay? You don't want to implant certain things into your kids. At least you shouldn't want to. But I always pray that I be prepared as a wife and a mother. Because if you sit here and if you observe, but also listen to wives and mothers in different age ranges too. Listen to someone who became a mother at 20. Listen to someone who became a mother at 30. Listen to someone who became a mother in 40. Right? The mentality is different. And a lot of them will always tell you, I don't know how many women that I've met that'd be like, wait until your 30s to have kids. I knew that from the get go from watching people in their 20s because, again, my family had kids very young. So watching what they went through was like, that doesn't make any sense. And like I broke it down to uncle, of having kids in your 20s is crazy work. Now, he took offense to it because he is someone that had kids very early on. So again, me saying that, he's taking it as I'm taking a dig at him. But it's like, but listen, you graduate high school at 18. Now, let's say you're a person that goes to college. Okay, so from 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's your 4-year degree, 22 years old. You now have your bachelor's. Some people go back for their master's. Okay, add 2 more years to that. Okay, now you are going into the work field. You're getting a career. Let's add 3 years so that way you can finally get to that promotion, that stability that you. Okay, you are inching to your 30s now. If you want a house or a condo, now you can get that, right? So now you have the time because you went to school, you didn't build yourself up in your career. Now you got a house, you got this, and you travel. Now you're in your 30s, right? So in your 20s, you're doing the groundwork of getting yourself to be financially stable and ready for your 30s because 20s is very young. 20s, you are still a baby. You are a baby to the adult life. Because from when you go to high school, 15 through 18, you're in school, you're in high school. And now from 18 to whenever you graduate, like into your 20s, mid 20s for sure, you are a baby. You don't know nothing about this world. You don't have enough experience. You are fresh out here. right? But a lot of people don't look at that. And so, whoever you were at 18, you are not the same person by the time you hit 25. You are different. So, try imagining you going through the emotional and mental shifts from being a teenager to now being out on your own. Some people still get to live at home with parents. That is a beautiful thing, but not everyone has that. So from 18 to now being out on your own, taking care of yourself, and you're trying to figure out yourself. You're trying to figure out what you want to do because now you're in this world and you need to pick a career, you need to pick this, you need to pick that. That's crazy to try to add a baby into the mix because you also are now this baby's teacher. You're this baby's first teacher. Okay. But you're trying to figure out yourself. And now you also feel like you don't get to have the fun that you want, that you see everyone else having, because now you got to take care of this baby. And now you got to make all these sacrifices. Some people be like, I sacrificed my dream because I became a parent, right? I couldn't do certain things. So when it comes to the love, pray that you are made prepared and ready. Pray that spirit guides you, that you make the right choices. Because a lot of times a person will come in and we be so blinded by lust, high emotions that we feel like it's love, but no, it's just lust, right? That way you won't be blinded by that and hurt by that, and then feel like everyone that comes into your life is just trying to take advantage of you and that they don't really want to be with you. And now you're questioning your worth. You see what I'm saying? So when you are doing love magic, do the love magic on yourself first. Evolve. As my godmother say, pray for evolution, right? Yes, pray to evolve, pray to develop, pray to grow. I'm always praying that I become the woman that I am destined to be. Right? So that way I can have the partner that I know I want and know the one that I need. Right? This is another thing when it comes to love magic of the, well, what if spirit doesn't bring me what I want? What if I'm not attracted to the person? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because you're not going to receive a person in that way that you are not attracted to. If you are sleeping with someone you are not attracted to, that is your own doing. That has nothing to do with spirit. That is your own doing. God is not going to give you someone that you are not attracted to. However, a lot of people are very impatient and act out of desperation. And I know y'all don't want to hear that, but I'm going to be real with you. You act out of desperation and accept this because you want love so badly. I've been there before. I am quick to say some of my relationships were out of pure desperation. Some of them were out of naivety. Didn't know any better. Oh, I wanted love. I wanted marriage. I wanted kids. And this is the person I'm going to have that with. And we're going to be fine. And even though they don't do everything that I want, and even though they don't look the way like that, you see what I'm saying? So it is good to write out what you want, but don't focus on the looks. You are going to be attracted to your person. A lot of y'all will sit here and look at another woman or another man. You would look at what they have and be like, ew. I hope I don't have an ugly partner. And it's like, damn, that's really fucked up. Like I mentioned in the the glamour magic episode, everyone is attracted to somebody. So just because your friend Jenny is with Jacob and you think Jacob looks like a frog, to Jenny, he is the most gorgeous thing in the world and he treats her very well and she's so madly in love. They love each other. Why are you worried about what Jenny got going on? That's not your man. And you should not be attracted to who your friends is with anyways. That's weird. Right? So don't worry about the looks because you are looking at everybody else and not understanding how they're with who they're with. That's not your business. Your business is getting yourself right. So something that I do suggest to clients when it comes to love, write out what you want. And I don't mean the superficial things. I don't mean, oh, I want my husband to be 6'6", 200, and I don't know what's a good weight for that. 280 pounds, right? He got muscles. He got a pretty smile. You know, he got his hairline. right? He got money. Don't focus on that. Again, spirit ain't gonna give you something that is going to be your downfall. A lot of times we pick someone that is going to be our downfall because of being impatient. Okay. Spirit will remove that person once it gets to a point, it's like, all right, we're gonna take this person away. And so with that, again, stop going back. But when you write your list, write out the characteristics of the person. So for men and women, do you want someone that is compassionate? Do you want a passionate love, right? Do you want someone that is empathetic? Someone who is a great communicator? Someone who is ambitious, right? Do you want a provider? Do you want a protector, right? Do you want someone that brings peace into your life? Someone, those are the things you need to be focused on when you are manifesting love. Get a clear eye view of what you want your relationship to be like. I used to have this conversation with men of what does a relationship look like? Like, what is your ideal relationship? What do you want your marriage to be like? Right? A lot of people don't think of those things, but those are things you need to think about because again, you putting it out into universe, you will get that. So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know what I want in a marriage. Some people like, oh, I just want, someone that is gonna cook and clean for me. Some people like, oh, I don't know, I just want someone I can spend time with. You can spend time with a friend, right? And your friends ain't gonna love you in that way, right? What is it? So this is why when it comes to doing love magic, and just magic in general, but especially love magic, because a lot of people always ask a lot of questions about that, of you knowing exactly what it is you want. Now that you see what you want, again, I'm always going to tell you to be honest with yourself. Do you have those traits as well? You want your person to be compassionate? Are you compassionate? You want your partner to bring peace into your life? Are you a peaceful person or are you always in drama? Because if that person is bringing you peace, obviously they're a peaceful person and they don't want to do drama. Now, there are some people that, again, we'll see person A being drama filled and person B is like, nope, we're not going to be in this. And they pull them out of that. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're going to be 100% ready and they're going to be 100% ready because there are some things that you guys are going to work on together. But ask yourself, because again, you need to be working towards these things for yourself. Can you provide for yourself? Are you nurturing? You want a nurturing person? Are you nurturing? Ask yourself, do you acquire these things already? Because it brings you back to what do you want out of this relationship? Do you just want a companion? Do you just want someone to hang around with and talk to and sleep with? If that's the case, just continue to have situationships. But a lot of people do not respect the sanctity of marriage, right? Because you dating someone, sometimes the goal, not for everybody, but a lot of people, the goal is to marry them. So have these things together so that you guys can build easily, right? You want to go getter, and also too, it brings a thing of like when looking at people in the industry. I was listening to the Breakfast Club yesterday. I don't know if it was a new episode or old episode, but it was someone who's in WWE, and they were talking about the woman that he's with and how they met. He's like, oh, we met in the industry, like we met, because we work at the same place. And he was saying like it's so much easier that we are in the same place because if not, we wouldn't see each other. If she had another job, we would not see each other because I'm not home, right? So a lot of people will sit here, especially women, will talk about they want a CEO. Look at what comes with a CEO. Some CEOs, yeah, they got a lot of free time. They don't have to work, but then there's some where they're at work all the time. They're traveling all the time. You're at work, and you can't go with them. So are you okay with that? Because some people's like, oh, I want a CEO, but I don't want to deal with him. He can go do all that. I really don't want to deal with him. You know. And then some people want a partner that's very involved and they create these memories together and they're always together. So it's like you need to look at that. Because also when it comes down to financial stability, of course, everyone wants to be in a relationship where there is financial security, men and women. So I don't know why men will sit here and try to be like, we want money, money, money. No, everyone wants financial security, financial stability. Everyone wants to know that they're not going to be put on their ass. Everyone wants to know that there's going to be food in the house. The lights are always going to be on. The water is always running. Okay. So, and Shira 7 said this too, of like, she never said her husband was a millionaire, right? But her husband was a provider, right? And there was security and there was stability there, right? He took care of her. And so it's the same thing of everyone is like, I want a multi-millionaire. And it's like, so if a man that makes 200,000 a year, right, who has good credit, right, he has the means to give you whatever you want. He'll go to work to give you whatever you want, and he loves you and cherishes you and worships you, right? And he wants to build a life with you. He has financial security, financial stability, but you don't want him because he's not a millionaire. Because you feel like being with a millionaire is gonna mean your life is easier. Right? So it's that whole thing of like, what is it that you want? If you are wanting to, be financially secure, financially stable, do not worry about the number. Because again, everyone's life is different and God knows exactly what you need, what you want. Okay? Because also you have to think about what you deal with when it comes to certain things. So do you want an easy love, or do you want a love where you really, really got to put in that grit? Okay. And this all brings me back to do your healing work, do the self love. Entonces, so when it comes to healthy love and energetic dependency, a lot of people will confuse love. A lot of people will see as someone being jealous is that they love them. Obsession does not mean love, sweetheart. They are just obsessed with you. They just want to have you, but they want to possess you. That's what it is. They want to possess you, right? They want to put you on a shelf and leave you there. They don't want to know that's happy. Okay. Healthy love is something that it is supportive, it is balanced, it is respectful. Okay. You have some boundaries, you have things you don't like, and you can communicate to that person. And they respect that and they begin to make the change, right? It is okay to have boundaries in your relationship. The person is supportive. And that's something, again, put that on there that you want a partner that is supportive. You want to start your own business. I didn't have partners to where when I was starting my business, right, I started getting clients. So I'm always on the phone. I'm on the phone all the time, talking to clients. Clients are reaching out to me. I got a reading. I got to do this reading. I got a cleansing. I got a candle work. I got to do this. I got to do that. Right. So it took time away from him because he was at home all the time. It's another story for another day. But it took time away from him. So now he feels like I'm not giving him time. I'm not giving him attention. But it's like I'm making money to bring to the house. Right. I'm not just doing this for shits and giggles. Right. And so there really wasn't much support with getting my business to grow because also, if you want to spend time with me and you see that I'm trying to bring more stability in this home, then why don't you try to help me with what I'm doing? Right? So the way we can build this business together and it becomes something that's really big and we get, or you want to be a musician. Being a musician, you may not work just local. You may have to travel a lot. And sometimes that person cannot go with you everywhere. So you need someone that is supportive of that and that's also going to be trusting, right? Of you being gone and they don't need to monitor you and watch you 24/7, right? An unhealthy attachment, again, is someone that is obsessive, someone that emotionally drains you, right? That gaslighting, that narcissism, okay? The feeling unable to move forward, like you constantly have to make sacrifices to making that person happy. It should not be like that. I just sat here and told this to someone. I was like, one thing I can learn from men is that when they don't like something, even though a lot of them are very avoidant and are quick to run away, however, when there is something that they don't like, they are quickly going to remove themselves. And we as women need to start doing that. We as women need to start doing that. Okay. Now, here are some frequently asked questions. Can you really make someone fall in love with you? And the answer to that is no. You cannot make anyone fall in love with you. They will fall in love with you on their own. You cannot rush that process either. So, again, when it comes to love magic, of people doing it because they want that person to love them, that person never had those feelings there, right? I could want to light this like a lighter all day long. I can do the movements. I can take the top off and it's never going to be a lighter. No matter how much I put into it to make it be a lighter, it's never going to be a lighter. Okay? Forced love and also manipulation is not going to last long. A lot of times people get in relationships and the person will say, "Oh, you manipulated me. Oh, you did this, you did that." It was never going to last because it's not organic. And a lot of people don't want to go through the process of finding love. Okay? Because there are people that are in relationships right now where they're not happy. And they stay because they don't want to spend more time, right? They don't want to do it. So they rather suffer in a relationship where there's no love anymore, right? Versus moving on because, oh, I done put so much time in this. Again, this is where that self love comes into play because if you love yourself enough, you are not going to put yourself in the hands of suffering. Another one, why can't I stop thinking about someone? I know when people always ask this question, they assume it is because a person is thinking about them or is doing magic on them. And that's not always the case. Sometimes, yeah, the person is pulling on you energetically, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it is unresolved emotion. So I do always tell people to do some introspection. Check in with yourself. You have to check in with yourself all the time. And so many people are not accustomed to checking in on yourself mentally and emotionally that everything is everyone else's fault or everything is because the universe is punishing you. No. Sometimes there is trauma bonds. Sometimes there is the lack of closure. Sometimes it's the idealization of who this person could be, right? You're looking at the potential that they could be. Let that go. When it came to an ex, I sat there and I kept thinking about him a lot. More so because I wanted closure. But then it got to a point where it was like, I'm not going to get that closure from him. I'm going to have to give that closure to myself. I'm going to have to go through this process and hang it up to dry because this person's not going to come give me the closure. I'm not going to get the answers that I want. And I have to be okay with that, have to process that, and have to move forward. So a lot of times when you're constantly thinking about something, there is because there was something that was there. Either you had it there on your side or y'all both equally had something going on with one another. And so now you did not process the ending of that, right? It didn't end the way that you wanted to end, right? Or that person didn't do what you wanted them to do. So a lot of times you can't stop thinking about someone because there are some unresolved issues there. There was some healing that needs to be done. Maybe you had a traumatic experience with them and you keep replaying in your mind. Maybe you're replaying in your mind what you should have done differently, whatever the case may be. So sometimes it can be spiritual, but that's not always the case. And I advise people to do investigations. So if you have tarot or you read cards or you read dice or shells or whatever the case may be, is to do your investigation with why you can't get this person out of your mind. Ask. It doesn't hurt. A lot of people be scared for what answers is going to come out, but ask. Am I still thinking about this person because they're doing magic on me or because they're doing spiritual work on me? It's either going to be yes or no. If it's no, then it's like, is it because I have unresolved trauma or unresolved emotions in regards to this person? Okay, go down the list. Does cord cutting mean you will forget the person? Again, the answer is no. No. Cord cuttings is not a memory erasure. The person exists. The person is still there. That doesn't mean like you will forget the experience you have with that person, but the emotional bond, right? The spiritual attachment will be cut, right? You're not gonna have any feelings. Like I have someone that I dealt with years ago. I've did multiple cord cutting on him because we just kept coming back to each other. So when I did that final cord cutting, he was like, "Oh, I don't feel nothing towards you. This is weird. Like we really don't need to be around each other. Like this is really like no. Like this is blank, right?" But that doesn't make me forget about the memories that we have. I remember this person. Like, that doesn't erase that. Okay, it's just it's just releasing the emotional hold that person has on you. Okay. Again, can energetic cords come back? Yes. If communication resumes, the emotional patterns continue, and unresolved feelings remain. This is why when you are doing a cord cutting, you have to go through the emotional process of releasing that person and letting them go. How do you release the emotional process? Some people don't want to do the work. There's a lot of ways to do it, but a few tips that I can give: when in doubt, write it out. Write out that letter. Write out how you feel. Write out how that person made you feel. Hell, write as if you are talking to that person. Write all that out and keep writing and writing and writing until you start to feel better because you're putting it out. You're putting it on the paper. You may not get to express these things to that person. Put on the paper. When you're done, burn it. With my ex, I think I wrote a total of 5 pages. I wrote 5. No, I wrote more than 5 pages. I wrote 5 letters. I wrote 5 letters. Some of those letters being multiple pages, right? I wrote about how I was feeling in that moment. I wrote about how I felt about the breakup. I wrote about how he made me feel. I wrote about, what I hope for the future. And then it got to a point where I'm like, oh, I feel so much better. And I burned it. Okay. You also want to look at the patterns because do you repeat this pattern with multiple people? And again, some internal work that needs to be done. Okay. How do you know when you need to let someone go? Feeling stuck in the past is one. Repeating unhealthy cycles, like I just mentioned, in constant emotional exhaustion. If you are with someone and you are not happy, it's time to let go. Don't stick around because of, oh, I don't want to feel like I wasted time and I don't want to start over with someone. That's an excuse a lot of people give when it comes to ending a relationship of they don't want to start over because they don't want to feel like they're wasting time. You are wasting more time being with someone that you don't want to be with anymore. You were with this person for 3 years and you are looking like, oh, I don't want to waste time. So you would go on an additional 3 years, making it a total of 6 because you didn't want to waste time. You're wasting more time staying, right? You're not happy. You guys are always bickering. You're always fighting, and your body, if you don't listen to your intuition, your body will start to tell you it is time to go. You will literally physically be drained. You will have all these problems, these ailments, these situations happening in your body because that energy is building and spirit is trying to tell you it's time to let go, it's time to move on. And especially spirit will begin to move people. A lot of times people will go back. Oh no, we're meant to be together. Spirit is removing them from your life, but you keep going back. Stop going back. Let them remove it and you move on and move forward. Yeah, it's going to be difficult in the beginning. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be like, oh my goodness, how am I going to get through this? Day by day. Okay, so if you already have it in your mind, especially if you're having the thought about leaving the person, then it's time to leave. Because you wouldn't have that thought with someone that you want to be with. You wouldn't have that thought of, dang, I'm really tired of this. Like, I'm thinking about breaking up with them, but I don't know. They're a good person. We do have good time, but I'm just tired of dealing with this. Because that's not to say that when you're in a relationship, someone that you guys are not going to argue, that you're not going to bicker. However, despite you arguing and bickering with the person you're with, you still want to be with them and you want to make it work. It's different when you are arguing and bickering with someone and you guys are constantly breaking up, getting back together because it's convenient. Is love supposed to feel intense all the time? Now, this is definitely a conversation because some people will say that love is boring, right? When you truly love the person, it's boring. Not really, but it gets boring, right? Simply because it's not chaotic. So anything that is not chaotic is looked at as boring to someone, right? Because we're not arguing, we're not fighting, right? We are having lunch, we're happy, and we're making these memories, and they treat me well. They don't talk to me bad, and they don't put their hands on me, and they're not going through my phone or accusing me of cheating. And this is not exciting. So sometimes people confuse intensity with love when intensity can also come from instability or trauma bonding. We all know that couple that all they do is fight, 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 fight. Like literally fight, 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 fight. But they don't leave each other alone. They break up, they get back together. Break up, they get back together. Oh, because I love him. You are content, right? For whatever reason. And you guys did build a bond. You guys are both abusing each other emotionally and mentally, right? And so that's where that healing process needs to come from. Because again, are you basing what you think love is from previous relationships that were unhealthy? Right? Because again, some people, when they receive gifts from their partners, a new person comes in their life, oh, you're trying to buy my love. And it's like, no, I'm just trying to give to you. I'm trying to share with you. Right? I just want to give you things because I love, right? Oh no, you're trying to buy me. You're trying to do this. And it's like, now you're picking a fight. Like, well, because I bought you something without you asking? Isn't that what you wanted? Was for someone to do something for you without asking? You see what I'm saying? So, I do have, of course, some reflection questions for you. Number one, have you ever struggled to let go of someone emotionally? Number 2, do you believe love can exist without attachments? And number 3, have you mistaken longing for love? Those are the 3 questions that I have for you. And oh my goodness, I'm for sure certified yapper. An hour? It don't even feel like it, but okay. So this was today's episode. I can't tell y'all how many times I recorded this episode. I done recorded this episode numerous times because when it comes to love magic and cord cutting, it literally goes so many directions because and they all intersect. So it's really a lot. And I tried to stay on point. So may I have stayed on topic today and everything did get brought together. If I ever did steer off, that it did get brought back together. Okay. But I thank you guys for listening to another episode of Misopinionated. May you continue to share this podcast. Also, I found out that Misopinionated is also available on Amazon Music. I did not know that. So, Misopinionated can be listened via Amazon Music, via Spotify, via Apple Podcasts, and also you can watch the live video. Yeah, you can watch the video of today's episodes and previous episodes on my YouTube at Divine Priestess. My channel is called Roots and Rituals, but you can find it via via at Divine Priestess. You can also type down the search bar youtube.com/Divine Priestess. Misopinionated does not have a TikTok page. However, there are clips that are posted on my personal TikTok account at Divine Priestess. Now you can find my personal TikTok at Divine Priestess on Instagram, as well as Misopinionated on Instagram at Misopinionated Podcast. Okay, so those are the ways to find it and things like that. But I really thank you guys for tuning in today. May you learn something from this episode. I also do want to put out, and I don't share this with a lot of people, because at this point I just kind of like deal with clients that I've had for years. But I do offer readings. I do offer guidance. So if you ever want to book a reading with me, a tarot reading, message me via Instagram. You can also message me on TikTok, but Instagram I tend to respond a lot quicker. So again, message me at Divine Priestess. Spiritual cleansings, I do that as well. From time to time, I will do a house cleanse. I do cleansings for businesses. I do spiritual work for businesses and people and things like that. But whatever the case may be, you can reach out to me at Divine Priestess, and I'm here to help you. So that is it. That is all. You guys have a great rest of your day. And once again, thank you for listening.